Hi, everyone. Welcome to the YPN Hot Seat today. I am Casey Berger, and I'm the event coordinator here at the Greater Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce. Today, we have with us Megan Raposa with Sioux Falls Simplified. Megan, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to interview you and learn all the things about you. It's so exciting. So I'm going to turn it over to you. If you just want to, again, tell me where you work, what you do, where you're from, all of that.
Yeah. Thank you again. And a little bit of background. I am a lifelong South Dakotan, grew up in Rapid City, came to Sioux Falls for college at Augustana. So go Augie.
Go Augie.
And graduated with a degree in journalism and business, and decided got lucky enough to get a job at the Argus Leader. So I've been a journalist my entire career. It's my passion. I love asking questions and helping people feel smart about where they live and understanding what's going on in local governments. So that's been a big driving force for me all the way through so far. So I worked in a variety of roles at the Argus Leader. I started doing the breaking news beat, which is Argus 911 on Twitter for anyone who follows that. That was me.
So you're the one behind that,
huh? For like 10 months of 2015. So
okay.
I go back a ways, but then I covered the education beat for a couple of years, and I spent the last almost 3 years that I worked there as the editor for they call it the watchdog team. So basically the reporters who cover schools, city government, state government, some like enterprise projects. And yeah, it was really great. It was totally my dream job. And the pandemic hit and things got a little crazy, and you could see sort of the news industry struggling a little bit. And like many industries during that time last year when everything was a little crazy. And I decided, I was kind of thinking about what is my career path and where do I want to be doing, 5-10 years from now. And I know that I still want to be doing local news. I love, a lot of journalists, you kind of come to Sioux Falls, you work a couple of years, and then you go to like some big city like Chicago or Minneapolis or Kansas City or wherever. But I love Sioux Falls and I love South Dakota, and my family is here. And so I started thinking about what local news might look like in the future, and what some different business models might be. And I'm sure we'll get into this more later too, but I had a couple of different opportunities that came up. And basically, long story short, I ended up taking the leap in leaving the Argus and starting my own local news outlet called Sioux Falls Simplified. So the big goal with that is just to really make news easy, make it really easy to understand, easily accessible. It's right in your inbox. It's, taking some of those kind of dry city government and school topics that, it's really easy to just sort of glaze on by that, but it's so important. And so getting those topics and looking at local nonprofits and looking at communities and looking at healthcare and looking at, what people need to know in a really, headlines, bullet point, digestible kind of way. So that is the long answer, but that's what I do and what I've done. And yeah.
Wonderful. That's so great. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to go back. You said you went to Augustana for journalism. Yep. So at what age did you decide, this is the path I want to take, or what intrigued you into diving into that?
Yeah, it's kind of, I wasn't a direct route, we'll say. I guess most people, you go to college.
It never really is. Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And then it's like, I was going to college thinking I'm going to go to law school and I'm going to be a politician or a lobbyist or something, because I really want to make a difference in my community. Like that was my goal. Okay. I want to have the ability to affect change. And so I took like a year of government classes, and
change your mind.
Wasn't my passion.
Wasn't your passion. That's okay.
Time with it. And I got a little bit just kind of down, I felt a little disenfranchised by it. And I was like, okay, what can I do? And I took a like honors class that was focused on journalism and like the history of journalism, basically. And so we looked at, everything from like the invention of the printing press in the 1400s up to, Watergate and the tremendous impact that the Washington Post reporters had on breaking that scandal open, and Hurricane Katrina and the different reporting that showed the devastation there, and talking about just seeing throughout history all of these ways that journalists have shown a light on their communities and made people aware of things that are going on that they are affected by. And so I thought that is just so cool. And I love writing. I've always loved writing. And so it just seemed like such a natural fit to, if I really want to make a difference in my community, the way that I can do that using my skill set is through journalism and through holding public officials accountable, through telling the stories of our community and preserving our history that way, and through just through all of that. I get so like I really found a passion for it. I could talk about it all day, but I really love what I do. So.
I can definitely tell your passion, and that's something that I think that's incredible when people have that in their role, because that's what makes you successful, right? If you have passion for it, you're really going to go far. So how far into college were you when you decided this is for me and this isn't for me?
Like sophomore year, I think, like halfway through, like freshman, sophomore year. And then I started working for the Augie newspaper. And then it was just like, well, that's where off. It was like, this is what I love. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a way to make money doing this. Like, this is it for me. So
it was their newspaper that hooked you into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how did you end up, you said you went straight to the Argus after college. Yeah. Did you intern with them, or did you just happen to have an opportunity available?
It's this will give you a little insight into just how small the world of journalism is. So, and Sioux Falls I feel like Sioux Falls is like this too. You meet somebody and then you end up working with them in all these different ways. Yes. So when I was in college, I did an internship with KSFY, which is now Dakota News Now.
Right.
And through that internship, I got connected with Jody Schwan, who at that time was running the Sioux Falls Business Journal for the Argus Leader. And she asked me if I freelance, and I said, yeah, I would love to try, and I ended up doing some freelance pieces for her at the Argus Leader. This is like 2014, so it was a while back.
You're aging us. Stop.
It's fine. And then when it came time for me to graduate, it was partly just dumb luck. They had an opening for an entry-level reporter with the breaking news team. And I applied and interviewed and held my breath. And 2 days before graduation, I got a call that they were making me an offer. And it was just like, I
talk about timing.
Still sometimes don't believe it, because it was just so like some of your career is skill and some of it is just dumb luck, like right place, right time. And I think for me, it was just dumb luck, right place, right time. And I don't
know about that. I don't think you'd be where you are today if it wasn't some of your skill too.
And having the right people in your corner. Yeah.
100%. Yes. And speaking of that, like, do you feel, because obviously this is the YPN hot seat, were you a part of YPN out of college, or, meeting those people that connected you along the way, or when did you join YPN?
Yeah, I joined, oh my gosh, I think I really started getting involved when I became the education reporter. And part of what hooked me was I went to, and again, this would have been like 2015, I think I went to a Topics on Tap event with then Superintendent Brian Maher, who's now with the Board of Regents. It was, to put it into context, it was like during that period of time in South Dakota legislative history when we were looking at teacher pay and how Teachers were lowest paid in the nation. It had been that way for decades. And there was this blue ribbon task force that the legislature put together to address that issue. They ended up getting, like $67 million to raise teacher pay. And, 5 years later, it's back to being a challenge again, which is just how the world works. But anyway, I went to a Topics on Tap with Brian Maher, and there was a legislator, and I can't remember who it is now. And anyway, they were just talking about schools, and it was a topic that was so close to my heart. It was before I was fully the education reporter, but it was a topic that had interested me, and it was just a cool way to learn something I didn't know and meet people. And then I just started, occasionally over the years, going to different things, going to the what do you call it? The summit, the
Crossroads Summit.
Crossroads Summit. Thank you.
Yes, it's coming up.
Yes.
Did you get your tickets for that?
I need to still. I'm a procrastinator.
Okay.
But just doing that. And then I got involved in the Civic Engagement Action Committee. I've been less involved in the last year because having a 1-year-old is a lot. But it's just really fun. I feel like I've got sort of this professional community in YPN, which I really appreciate.
Like a professional family.
Yeah, especially like as such an extrovert, to be able to just walk into a room full of people who are all like ready to talk to you about stuff. It's just like, yeah, perfect. Tell me what you
love that. You thrive off of that.
That's my scene.
Oh, wonderful. So I guess you just mentioned your 1-year-old. So talk about your family a little bit.
Yeah. So I live in Sioux Falls with my husband, Royal, who works at Avera Behavioral. He is tremendously talented and patient, and having someone in the mental health field, we always joke, like, having one parent in the mental health field and one parent as a journalist, like, we're both constantly like asking questions about feelings. So our kid's gonna be the one on the playground who's like, are you doing okay? Do you need to talk about it?
Hey, we need people like that. It's good.
But yeah, so my husband, and then we last May had our first kid, a daughter. Her name is Margot. She has been a big feature on all of my Zoom calls over the last year. And the
is
only
she going to
reason
make an appearance today?
It's nap time. It's very conveniently nap time. So we're going to let her rest. But yeah, so
wonderful.
And then I have a sister in town too that works at Raven, and her husband is a civil engineer with HDR. So there's Raposas all over the place. Well, Raposas used to be Raposas.
Yeah. So. And so that's wonderful, because that also provides a perk for you to stay within the Sioux Falls community, having family close. I know that's important to me. So yeah. All right, let's go back to Sioux Falls Simplified.
Yes.
So Argus leader, you work your way through many years there, and then the pandemic hits, and you sit down and think, okay, I'm going to do this. So how did you get started?
Oh my gosh. It's one of those things where like some of it is just dumb luck timing, right? So I had kind of been thinking, as even before the pandemic hit, I was fairly pregnant, and I was thinking like, okay, being in like a newspaper job and being a mom, I just didn't know. I mean, sometimes the hours get crazy. There's a lot of women who do it and do it very successfully, and I admire that to no end. But it is a little tricky. And so I was thinking about, maybe it's time to, look for something different. Maybe I want something more consistent. And then, all of that went out the window, and I was like, what if I just try entrepreneurship, which is arguably more, not even arguably, it's sometimes it's more of a commitment. Cause
definitely more of a commitment, I would say.
A lot more hats to wear. But when I was on maternity leave, I was kind of like looking around and thinking, like, what other jobs are out there? What could I do? And I stumbled on an application for, it was called the Google News Initiative. They ran, this is the first time they'd done this. They ran a startup boot camp. So basically they found 24 individuals or groups, news outlets between the US and Canada. And they were just like, we want to help you get the tools you need to build a sustainable news business. And so I applied thinking like I could treat this like a college class. I can learn everything I need to learn. And then, 4 or 5 years down the road, I can start, working and starting my own publication. And then I worked.
That's clearly not the way that happened.
It was not. It's a spoiler. It didn't work. Life did not go to plan. But again, it was all just timing. So I was working through this boot camp. I'd been accepted. It was kind of like my, I'd finished work, and my like nights and weekends kind of passion project was sort of starting to put this business plan together. And then we got word that the Argus Leader's parent company, called Gannett, which owns like USA Today and like a couple hundred papers all over, they were downsizing, and they offered a lot of the employees buyouts. And so I'm looking at this opportunity. I'm seeing, okay, I feel like I've done a lot of what I wanted to do with the Argus Leader. I think I could have worked there for another like 40 years and still probably not told all the stories I wanted to tell. But I was feeling restless. And then I had this buyout opportunity. I had this business plan. And I just remember like sitting across from my husband at breakfast one day and saying like, what if I quit my job? And he was like, are you insane?
Crazy?
It's the middle of the pandemic. We had a 4-month-old at that point. And I was like, yeah, no, like what if I did this? And I laid out the plan for Sioux Falls Simplified. And I said, I think there's room and Sioux Falls has a great media landscape. But I think there's room for a more digital focused presence, and for something that feels hyper local, is under local ownership, and it's right to your inbox. It's explaining things in a way, I'm a mom, I'm busy. Working professionals are all super busy. Like, I don't sit down for the 5 o'clock news. I don't sit down and read. I worked for the newspaper, and I don't sit down and read the newspaper in the morning. So like, I know that there's a lot of busy people out there who just want like the headlines and the bullet points and the like, look, tell me what's happening in my community, tell me why it matters, and then let me get on with my day and make decisions about it, moving forward. So that was the vision for Sioux Falls Simplified, and I launched at the beginning of February. I during that time was also part of another boot camp, the Co-Starters program through Startup Sioux Falls, which was so amazing. A huge shout out to, it was Zeal when they just rebranded as Startup Sioux Falls, but like, they're amazing. They're still amazing and supportive, even though the boot camp ended like months ago, and they're still just like, yay, everybody. So
they're big cheerleaders, and that's important to have in our community.
So, so that was great. And I launched, I had, it's still just me, but I had like my little website and like 100 email addresses, and I was like, okay, we're doing it. And so that's how it started, and it's that simple. And I just every week come up with, a handful of stories. I have some sponsored content that helps sort of fund things. And then, I really want to continue to see this grow. I think the reception has been good, and I just love it. It's fun. It's local news. I feel like I'm doing continuing to do what I love to do. So just a little different.
That's incredible. What's your favorite story that you've ever reported on then?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, because I think I have to go back to my time at the Argus.
Oh, okay.
Because it was so fun to do. Like I did so many fun projects there, but I think, and there were just so many big things that happened. I mean, we did some reporting on like the building collapse and like really intense things. And then there were like really awesome stories of being able to tell, I helped Shelly Conlin, who was the education reporter and then took my job as editor. So she's still there. She's amazing. She did this amazing like year-long investigation into deaf education, and like working with her as her editor on that was so satisfying, like so cool to see. And it like helped state law to be more take a better account of the needs of deaf kids in South Dakota. So like that was amazing. And then with Sioux Falls Simplified, it's so new, but it's been really fun because I get to kind of pick the fun stories that I want to tell. And like, I just did a story this past week on Sioux Falls, setting these greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and Holly Meyer with the city and about this sustainability effort. Like that was super fun. have gotten to do like some kind of goofy pieces, like after the burger battle, talking to people who ate burgers in the burger battle. So I try to keep it a good mix of like, here's something serious going on and here's something kind of silly, and there's
a good balance of everything.
Yeah, there's just always so much going on. Sioux Falls is just, and it's not,
is busy.
Brandon. I mean, there's just so much going on. So.
Oh yes, never a dull moment of anything to report on, is there?
Yeah.
Well, what I want to know is we're going to go back to YPN now.
Yeah.
You said you started with Topics on Tap, which we have one of those coming up here soon, so maybe see you there. But what is your favorite YPN event, or is it Topics on Tap?
It probably is Topics on Tap, just because I really like getting to sort of deep dive into a local issue, especially when it's around like an election and they'll get like, a couple city councilors or school board members or whoever. I really like that. I also, like I said, I'm an extrovert. The happy hours are, it's so fun, and you get to see people, especially now that we're going back out again after this last year. It was like, I went to the YPN, I think it was like the birthday party at Pave.
The birthday bash? Yes.
It was like a reunion. It was just, everybody was like, oh my God, hi, like, how are you doing? You're doing this now or whatever. So
it's so cool to be back in person, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so great.
What would your advice be to somebody that you just met that isn't a YPN member? What would be your advice for them to join?
It's really, to me, if you are a young person working in Sioux Falls, it's really a no-brainer. Like, it's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to, learn about different parts of your community and learn about different industries. I mean, you might be sitting at a table with someone who's in real estate, someone who's in banking, someone who works for the city, someone who's a teacher. You see so many different sides of the city, and it's just really fun. I don't know. Sometimes it's just as simple as like getting a beer, or getting a cup of coffee, and it's just, it's a nice outlet that doesn't feel, it's a way to kind of feel professional without feeling super stuffy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you just never know, like you said, you never know who you're going to be sitting next to or who you'll meet, and how that connection today might help you 3 years down the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you're not a YPN member, join YPN, reach out to me, reach out to any of us here at the Chamber. Are you involved in any other groups or anything like that outside of YPN?
Professionally, there's like a lot of like journalism groups, like national groups. So I do a lot of that. But locally, I mean, YPN is a big one. I can't think of any other like groups. I go to Bar 3, and that's basically like a different little family over there. So
yeah. So what are your hobbies then? Because Bar 3 that's like a workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a workout, but I would say it's like a hobby too, because it's a lot of socializing before and after class too.
Right. I would say working out is a hobby.
Yeah. It's alone time, which is nice.
Yes. With a 1-year-old.
I love going to the parks in town and like catching like local, walking the trails at Good Earth, or
yes, those are beautiful.
I just love reading. Like we've been doing I've been helping Margot with her little summer reading challenge. So she's one. She doesn't sit still through like even a picture book, but like we like color in the little guys, the cartoons.
Yeah.
Get the little prizes. So that's been really fun. The library system's great. So I don't know. I like Sioux Falls.
Yeah. So where's your favorite restaurant, or where do you love to go and eat?
I am a diehard advocate of Giliberto's. It opened when I was like a senior in college, and it was just like the perfect time, because that was like that was when I was like the 2 a.m. crowd, and now I'm like the like pick up enchiladas for takeout on my way home for dinner kind of.
And they've added locations since then. Yeah. So they're very accessible.
they're always open. You can have a taco anytime or day or night.
You are right. I think they're open 24 hours, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh boy. So if you had to describe yourself, what would be 3 words that best describe you?
I think I would start with extroverted, just because I think that drives so much of, meeting people, meeting sources for stories, getting ideas.
That has been a common theme throughout this interview. You have said that, so yes.
And I'm probably talking too much, but
no. It's great.
Dedicated. I like setting goals and working really hard to achieve them, and having a question and then really digging to find the answer to it. And then I would say curious. I think that is essential for journalism, but it's also just, it helps me come up with ideas for stuff to write about. It helps me ask the right questions when I'm talking to somebody. Just being curious and always wanting to, kind of learn something in every conversation. So.
Right. So being curious, do you ever, and a journalist, do you ever have like writer's block where you cannot think of what to write or what to say?
Journalism's interesting because I feel like it's a different kind of writing. Like I definitely have moments where it's like, I wish I knew how to like start this story. Like it's such a good subject and I just wish I had the right words to like get into it. But there's so many, I feel like, and I, now that I've done this for several years, I've sort of got some tools in my toolbox for like, okay, when I can't figure out where to start, maybe I just need to, write down, like free write some random ideas, or maybe I need to start by writing the end of the story first and then come back and write the beginning. So, there's sometimes I just need to take a walk and get a cup of coffee. So
yeah, where's your favorite place to write? Do you have your own office at home, or do you like to go to coffee shops? Or
yeah, I work from home. I work from Café downtown a fair amount. This summer, it's been really nice working from the little parklet at the breaks.
Yes.
That's super cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any coffee shop really. I hang out at the Source sometimes, Josiah's. I'm a frequent flyer for all of the like downtown coffee shops.
You're a downtown girl, huh?
Yep.
I love it. Okay, so now we're gonna do rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So the objective here is that you don't have time to think about it. You just have to say one or the other. No justifications. Just one or the other. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Call or text?
Call.
Call. Okay. Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter.
Ice cream or snow cone?
Ice cream.
Music or podcast? Podcast. Okay. Apple or Android?
Apple.
All right. High tech or low tech?
Low tech.
Low tech. Okay. Work hard or play hard?
Play hard.
Play hard. I like it. I like it. Hamburger or taco? I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, taco. Yeah.
I knew it. Giliberto's. You had to say that.
Okay.
Online shopping or in-store?
Online.
Online. Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, I don't drink pop.
You don't drink pop?
Just like fizzy water, just like a LaCroix. I'm really, really boring.
Not a pop drinker. Okay. Scratch that question. My bad. So then, iced or hot coffee?
Hot.
Hot. Okay. Even in the summer?
Even in the summer. Yeah.
Okay. Here I am telling you not to justify them, and I'm asking questions. Save or spend?
I would say save. My husband would say spend.
So you guys have to like meet in the middle.
We're good. We're a good team.
Good. TV or book?
Book.
City or countryside?
City.
Okay. Winter or summer?
Winter.
Winter. All right. Beer or wine?
Oh, don't make me choose. Wine.
Wine. I'm a wine lover too. Show or movie?
Show.
Show.
Yeah.
Off the clock or morning mingle?
Oh, off the clock. I always think I'm going to make it to morning mingle, and then I hit the snooze.
And you don't. It's okay. It's okay. We won't. You have a daughter. We won't blame you. All right. Well, that wraps up our rapid fire questions. So, if anybody wants to connect with you, what is the best way?
Best way to reach me is through my email, which is just Megan, Megan, at sfsimplified.com. And the other best way to connect with me is subscribing to my newsletter at sfsimplified.com. It's free weekly hyperlocal news.
Everyone, go subscribe now if you haven't already. Like she said, it comes directly to your inbox. So go hit that button. But Megan, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we have Robin Stoltzman, and Corey Whedon will be interviewing her. So thank you all for joining us today. And again, Megan, thank you. I hope you all have a great weekend and a great Friday. So we'll be seeing you around.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. This was fun. Yes. Bye, everyone.